Tony Hody Training and Consulting presents the Crash Course Podcast, your weekly destination for coaching, inspiration, and new skills to help you maximize your income and success in the home improvement sales industry. Here are your hosts, sales and training experts, Phil Wiley and TJ Parsons.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first edition of the Crash Course Podcast, sponsored by Engage. My name is TJ Parsons. I'm joined by my co-host, Phil Wiley. Phil, how are you doing today?
I'm good, TJ. I am good. I'm excited to be here with you today. I've been in the home improvement industry for the last 25 years. I've been a field manager, a sales manager, general sales manager, director of sales. Worked with every department within a home improvement company. So excited to finally be on here with you and seeing what we can do to help, as you say, ordinary people do extraordinary things.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I have spent the last 15 years of my life in the remodeling industry. Phil was actually my mentor in the business when I got in and taught me everything I know. And so I've spent many years doing wearing similar to Phil, about every single hat in the industry possible. And now we're here working for Tony Hody Training and Consulting, and we're trying to give back and pass that information along to everyone else. And I know a big part of our philosophy, a big part of our mindset is the rhino. You'll see the rhino logo associated with us quite a bit, and I'll let Phil speak on why we associate ourselves with the rhino.
Yeah, and I see you got some rhinos behind you back there on the wall, TJ, which is
yes, sir,
really cool. And you can see my background. I've got a rhino charging through the wall. But 20-some years ago, I read a book by Scott Alexander called Rhinoceros Success. We're actually going to do a podcast here in the future where we do a little book review on it. But it's a simple book, about a 3 to 4 hour read. It's not a novel. It's not a bunch of big words, but it's just a simple book that talks about how we should act as salespeople. And it just hit home with me. It talked about going through life like a rhino or going through life like a cow. And a rhino is always focused, is always charging. And a cow is just kind of standing around in a field waiting to be slaughtered. And it talks a lot about how as salespeople, rhinos are endangered species and great salespeople are endangered. And that's another reason why we wanted to do this podcast, because we believe there's a lot of great salespeople out there that have the potential to be a rhino, and they just need a little bit of help. So hopefully through our podcasts and our webinars and training, we can help you maximize your success as well.
Absolutely. And the goal of our podcast here is every week just to pick a different subject, a different objection, or a set of circumstances or events like today's topic, which is shows and events, and discuss how to approach those and what you can do to maximize your results, specifically when it comes to that subject matter. So every week the topic will be different. We're going to try to get, as Phil mentioned, different guest speakers. We really want to be as inclusive and diverse as possible with this and give you as much content as we can, but pack it into about 30 minutes so that you can digest it on your drive to work every week. And it's not a lot of information to process on a weekly basis. So with that being said, today's subject matter is shows and events, and Phil's going to speak a little bit on why that's our topic today.
Yeah. So we had the good fortune of sitting on a webinar the other day with Tony and Megan, where they talked about summer shows and festivals. And, this has always been one of the most exciting weeks of the year for me for the last 25 years, because two of the biggest fairs in our part of the world are getting ready to kick off, the Ohio State Fair and the Kentucky State Fair. And these were two of our biggest events of the year. And one of the things that Tony had asked was, what do you think some of the challenges are for home improvement companies when it comes to these shows and events in the summer and the fall? Because there's so many of them. Not only do you have your state fairs, but all of your counties have a fair. In fact, they've already started to have them here around where I live. You have festivals everywhere. You have sweet corn festivals, strawberry festivals, zucchini festivals. My hometown of Reynoldsburg has a tomato festival. So there's a festival for everything. There's a chocolate festival. So one of the things that we want to help you with is being able to have a plan and being prepared for these shows and events so that you can maximize your success. Three things that I came up with, the three challenges that home improvement companies have, is number one, a lack of a plan or poor planning. And we've all heard the saying, failing to plan is planning to fail. When you go into these shows and events, you need to get out ahead of them and you need to properly plan so that you can get every single drop out of these shows and events as possible.
And
The second,
this will
yeah, go
fall
ahead.
primarily on the heads of sales management.
Yes,
This starts with sales managers.
yeah, and salespeople, hang tight, be patient. This first maybe 10, 15 minutes is going to be geared more toward the sales manager and the infield manager, but there'll be some good stuff in there for you. And I promise you, the bulk of this, our time together, will be spent on how to help you do better at the shows and events and make the most of every show and every lead that you run. But the second thing would be not being properly prepared. And then the third thing would be our mindsets about it. So let's talk about planning for a second, TJ. One of the things that we did at the company TJ and I worked together at for such a long time was once a month we'd have a meeting, and the meeting would be with the sales management team, the infield marketing team, the management team, and we would have to be prepared when we come to this meeting with a budget for all of the shows and events coming up that month. We'd have to come back with the budget that we had for all the shows and events in the prior month, and we'd have, on one side, here's what we're budgeting, and then here's what the actuals were, and take the time to sit down and discuss, what went great, what we could have worked on to be better, ideas and thoughts for next year. Is this a show that we want to continue to invest in, or is this one that we can move away from? Because as you know, especially this time of year, you might have 2 to 3 shows, TJ, all going on at exactly the same time. And if you've got a show that's just killing it and another one that's a dog, next year you don't want to take 2 or 3 of your better marketers and send them to a show that does nothing for you and then you're shorthanded at the show that you could be generating more leads if you had enough help. So you want to come back with documentation day by day. How did we do? How was the weather that day? If the weather impacted it, it's good stuff to come to the meeting. And in fact, do you have the sheet there, TJ, the budget sheet that we would use?
Yeah, I'm going to pull that up for you right now.
As you can see, this is a budget sheet that we created, and you're going to want to create your own. Not everybody looks at the same numbers and the same stats, but as you can see, here's one that we made up for the Hawaii State Fair that is getting ready to come up. And as you can see, we put right on there, what the name of the event is, the dates, the location, and very important, the hours that the show is open. A couple other things that's really important is your entries, your sweepstakes, making sure that you determine how many sweepstakes that you want to get per hour. How many are you going to get during the show? So obviously at these bigger shows, your goal is kind of twofold. Set as many appointments as we can set, but also if we've got some type of a contest or a sweepstakes, how many of these sweepstakes leads are we going to get? And have an actual plan and make it something that the marketer gets paid for. I think at the company TJ and I just came from, we gave them $1 an entry. But some of our top marketers were leaving the shows every day with, not only did they set 10 to 12 appointments, but they came back with 100 entries. And that's a nice bonus for a marketer to get if they go and do that 4 or 5 times a week. And then you got your typical sales statistics there. Not going to go through all of them, but it's important that you know your close rates and how much volume you wrote. And then the last thing I'll tell you about these shows and events is it's not a bad idea to have your a confirmer on site confirming the leads to speed up the process if you use a confirmation process. So instead of them calling in and getting a lead confirmed, you can hand them off to the confirmer while you're there. And then it's also very important that not only as your sales managers, but your marketing managers are keeping a day-to-day journal. How many leads did we run this day? So that next year, when you can give salespeople off, when you need to make sure everybody's available. And all of that should be turned in, TJ, to the infield marketing team so that those can be put away, whether it's online or whether it's in a filing cabinet if you're on paper, so that next year when that show and event comes up, you can get all that stuff back out and make sure that everybody has a really good idea of what's coming up. Give us some feedback, TJ, on some things that you think we should get out of these meetings.
Yeah, if you're not doing a great job of tracking your numbers now, obviously it's a good time to start. Making sure that, if you haven't done that before, start doing it now so that next year you're able to implement that process. I think the major key to the success of a home show is actually bringing both the sales and the marketing departments together and amplifying the communication and the teamwork throughout the entire show season. So creating the lead is the first step, but the next step, the most important step, is converting those leads into actual sales and actual revenue. Yep. And while a majority of that responsibility lands on the sales team, both departments can work together to make sure that both teams are set up for success. So I've always thought that there are really 5 easy but inconceivably important ways that these teams can work together to make sure that you maximize your chances of success. The first step is that sales reps need to know exactly what products are on display and should have pictures, especially for design-heavy product categories like bathrooms and kitchens.
Oh, yeah.
A sales rep can instantly lose a portion of their credibility with a homeowner when that homeowner asks, "Hey, I really love the shower you had at the home show. What color was that?" And then the sales rep can't answer the question. The homeowner's expectations are for the sales team to know these answers. And we can't let the homeowner down in that situation. Having pictures of the displays will also help build confidence within the homeowner and ease the burden of decision-making when it comes to designing their products. Number 2 is that sales teams need to be fully aware of any and all promotions.
Yeah, that's a great point, TJ, real quick, going back to number 1, because we've both experienced this in the past. How many times were you called from a sales rep that at 7 or 8 o'clock at night and, hey, the homeowner said they want to buy exactly what we have at the show. And then you or I are spending a half hour trying to track somebody down that knows exactly. So you're dead right there. They need pictures and they need an exact explanation of everything down to a fixture color. Was it brushed nickel? Was it oil rub bronze? Was it stainless steel, matte black? Down to the detail, because there are people that are going to see these displays and fall in love with them, and that's what they want.
For sure. And of course, you can instantly lose that credibility and basically the customer's perception of your professionalism diminishes the second they think, oh, this guy doesn't even know what they had on display.
All right.
So it seems so simple, but it makes a huge impact.
Yep.
Number 2 is that the sales team needs to be aware of any and all promotions and discounts that are being offered at the show. And they need to know the exact verbiage that the marketing team is using to promote those.
Yep.
There's nothing worse for a sales rep than the moment they lay down their final discounted price and the customer responds with, "Well, I also have this coupon for 10% off from the show. I know you didn't include that. Can I have that off too?" Yeah. And now the sales rep is forced to drop their price to a level that he was not prepared to do so. And, potentially losing all commission that he could have made on that sale. And there have also been times where a sales rep doesn't close a deal and they head back to the office and they talk about how close they were to getting that deal. And then someone says, "Well, did you offer the special financing that we advertised at the show?" And of course, the sales rep didn't even know that that was being offered, didn't know that that's available.
Yeah, and I think what you just said about the promotions, you remember the customer right now is observing us. And when we can show the homeowner right up front how great we communicate with each other as a company, it gives them a good feeling about doing business with us, that, the right arm knows what the left arm's doing at all times.
Yeah, and that can start to make the customer feel a little off if they see, okay, something was promoted at the show, but this person never even offered it to me when they actually got in the house.
So how legitimate is it in the first place?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Number 3 is the marketing team needs to make sure that they set the proper expectations for the visit and for the discounts that are being offered. On our prior webinar, Megan did a really beautiful job of hitting on this when she discussed the value of the visit statement. And her scripting that she uses is 100% perfect. I could not recommend that anymore. But to add context to why that verbiage is so important to closing the deal is customers are savvy today, and they are extremely quick to judge and disqualify a candidate if they get a sense that they are being deceived. If the marketer says, we'll just stop over and take a few measurements and then leave you with a price that's good for a year, the customer has a really high chance of being turned off right from the very beginning of the sales rep's appointment, making his odds of closing that deal greatly go down. As soon as the rep delivers his value of the visit statement when he arrives at the home, and the customer gets a sense that this isn't going to be a quick in and out like the marketer implied, well, they've been moved now into a negative mindset, and building trust is that much more difficult. So as a marketer, you have to deliver a clear, savvy, and precise language that the customer understands exactly what is going to happen, understands that it's not going to be 10 or 15 minutes, but it's also not going to take 2.5 hours either. But it's got to tee the sales rep to get them in a good spot to actually pitch.
Good stuff. I think one thing to add to that is just making sure that both the salespeople and the marketing people, whether you have a meeting to kick off a big show or however you do it, that everybody knows what those things are, that the sales reps see the script that the marketer is going to be using, and the marketer as well sees this, what the sales rep's saying when they get to the house, so that we're not contradicting each other.
And the 4 key things in that category would be, number 1, what exactly is going to take place during the visit?
Yep.
Number 2 is an approximate time frame for how long that visit will last, and it's got to be realistic.
Yep.
Number 3 is how long their quote will actually be good for. And then number 4 is if there are any discounts or promotions available, that those promotions that are being offered are time sensitive, and they are not the same length of time that the original 1-year price is good for.
Right.
And
Good
if you
stuff.
can hit all 4 of those, then you're in great shape.
Good stuff.
Here's an example. So we would always use the phrase, and when we're done, we'll leave you with a price down to the penny that's good for 1 full year from today. And if you find something you love and you want to have it installed sooner than that, we do have some promotions and specials that are available right now that our designer will be able to go over with you too.
Awesome.
So it's teeing up the 1-year price, but also delivering a discounted message at the same time. Number 4 on my list is the sales team needs to do a product demo for the marketers that will actually be working the show.
Awesome.
Arming the marketing team with knowledge and skills to present the displays that are at the show properly is one of the biggest advantages you can give to your team. I can't tell you how many customers have bought from us in the past simply stating that the knowledge and professionalism of our marketer at the show set us so far apart from other companies that it really just made us the easy choice. The sales team needs to help the marketers understand what things will help them grab and keep people's attention, while also not giving away too much information that it takes away from the sales rep's presentation in the home.
Hey, can I piggyback on that real quick, TJ?
Absolutely.
I think that that's such an important thing that doesn't take place, and that is that relationship with sales and marketing from a training sales standpoint. I think that salespeople or sales management should go to the initial new hire training for marketers and take the time to teach the class, here's what we sell, here's the benefits and features of what we sell. And this should be an ongoing thing. When you get new colors or new options, you should be sitting down with the marketing team and showing them, hey, here's some new stuff that we have. These are the hot colors right now, the hot fads. And then I think when you have a big home show or a big fair, you need a kickoff meeting where you get the sales team and the infield team together, you buy them lunch, and then that's a great time during that meeting, TJ, to have the sales reps get up and say, we want to show you the products that we sell, and to demo those products in front of those marketers and give the marketers a chance to ask questions, and also develop relationships between the salespeople and the marketers. TJ, I can remember walking into your office when you were a sales rep, and the canvas team would be getting ready to leave to head out onto the streets. And one of them would come up and give you a high five and say, "Hey man, thanks. You sold my lead last night." And I can remember you calling me from the road and saying, "Hey, I just left a house. Can you get Ben's phone number for me? I want to send Ben a text and tell him how awesome of a job he did setting that lead up for me." I got there and they were so happy with Ben. It just made my job so much easier. I had so much credibility when I walked in the house. So when you can get the salespeople and the marketers together, and I recommend, especially on the big shows, have a big contest. Get with your owners and say, "Hey, give us a little bit of money to go out and buy a barbecue set, a new grill, a new Blackstone, and a cooler, or send us on a weekend trip, or get us tickets to your big college football team against their biggest rivalry." But have a contest for sales, marketer, who sets the most leads, who has the most net revenue, and maybe get them working together. That if we can issue this many leads and write this much net business, then everybody gets a Amazon gift card. But get them to start working together as a team with a joint, goal, and focus is on the same. It shouldn't be set a lead at any cost, and it shouldn't be sell at any cost. It should be everybody working together, setting each other up for success. And there's no better way than having those meetings and getting everybody to work together side by side.
Absolutely. And item number 5 is the sales team needs to do a great job of explaining to the marketers what can and cannot be completed from an installation standpoint. Making sure that the marketers ask the right questions to find out exactly what the customer is looking for is obviously incredibly important. But you want to schedule a meeting between the sales staff and the marketers based around going through prior jobs that are unique or jobs that are outside of the scope. No one inside the organization has a better grasp on what customers want versus what you guys can provide than the sales team. So making sure all the marketers are prepared to handle any of those situations appropriately will help demo rates go up and improve the sales rep success while they're in the home. But, just to wrap up, the sales team needs to be an extension of the marketing team. And they need to be delivering the same message in the same undertone. If the customer gets any sense that the marketer and the sales team are saying two different things or taking two different approaches, their flags will immediately go up, as will their defenses. So gaining their trust will be extremely difficult from that point on. So it's important to remember that what attracted them to sign up for the appointment was the message, the approach, and the knowledge that the marketer had when they first met. So the sales rep needs to make sure that they are building on top of that existing foundation instead of creating a separate foundation. That's the quickest way to get to the top.
Awesome. So let's talk about number 2, the other big concern, and that's preparation. And sales reps, thanks for your patience on the first part. Now we're going to talk about you. Your preparation, and in my opinion, this is every day, but it's even more important as you go into these shows and events. Before a big show starts, drag your kits into the office or drag them into your kitchen at home. Take everything out and clean everything off. Make sure everything looks brand new, sparkling. There shouldn't be a scratch, a dent. If there's any part of your sample kit or anything in your kit that's missing or damaged or discolored or faded, get in there, get it changed out. You want to make sure you're walking in the house with a completely clean, pristine sales presentation kit. That includes making sure you get all the dog hair and the cat hair off of it. Make sure you don't have fingerprints all over your windows if you're demoing windows. But you want to walk into the house with your stuff being in excellent condition. You want to make sure all your tools, such as your iPad or laptop, whatever you're using to do a presentation, that they're charged, that they're good to go. If you have an inspection kit, make sure your inspection kits are full, and we're going to talk about that at some point. TJ, you got something to add?
Yeah, on the presentation tool side, I think it's really important to make sure that you carry a charger and an extension cord, because you never know. Sometimes you're in a house for multiple hours and your battery dies a lot quicker than you thought it was going to.
Yep.
So having a charger with an extension cord is super important. And then especially if you're displaying bathroom or kitchen products, especially a bath product that takes a lot of abuse, or you might do a cleaning demo with your bath supplies, making sure that whatever sample you're showing to the customer is actually attractive. Awesome. You don't want to show them one like, oh, look at this one. I've scuffed this one up a little bit. Ignore all the scrapes on it. Yep. It needs to be a beautiful, pristine sample that's actually going to attract the customer and not make them worry about what they're getting.
Awesome. And you want to make sure in your glove box, you've got an extra tape measure, an extra pen or two, an extra calculator. And then in your back seat, you should have a go bag. Salespeople used to laugh at me in training when they started, but I told them they should have a bag in their back seat that's got Axe body spray, that's got Febreze, that's got deodorant, that's got an extra toothbrush, toothpaste, bottled water, protein bar. You're going to be busy. You may not have time to stop for lunch, or you may not have time to go home and take a shower. You've walked, maybe you were at someone's house that was smoking or cooking a certain food that all of a sudden you're driving down the street and all your clothes smell like fried chicken. You want to make sure that you have the opportunity to clean yourself up before you get to your next appointment. TJ did a great job talking about it, but you want to make sure that as sales reps exactly what's being displayed at that show or at that event. And you should be role-playing your sales presentations with your fellow sales reps, making sure you're nailing your tie downs. One of the things that TJ and I love to talk about is that you're making sure you're hitting your objection blocks. And we're going to talk about what blocking an objection is in a future podcast. But you want to make sure that you're eliminating objections before they have the opportunity to come up. When's the last time you recorded your sales presentation and listened to it? When's the last time you asked your manager or a top sales rep to go on a ride along with you and critique you? But you want to make sure that you are in what I call masterful presentation mode. And that is that right now I am in my prime. I'm on my game. If you're a golfer, the hole looks like a laundry basket. If you're playing basketball, you look like you're swimming, you're shooting into a kiddie pool. But you want to make sure that you are focused on your game and that you're giving some of the best presentations that you've ever given. So remember that term, masterful presentation mode. You're going to hear that a lot.
Absolutely.
And you got to be prepared on how to handle other estimate objections. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But if I was to tell you, how deep are you on your other estimate closes? How many do you know? How many have you memorized? How many of them can you rattle off? Tim hit this earlier. And guys, I want to apologize real quick to Tim right now. Everybody in his life calls him TJ, except for me and another one of our friends. We call him Timmy. I try to call him TJ when we're in these type of environments, but TJ is Timmy, and he'll always be Timmy to me. But I don't want to confuse you at home right now. Like, who's this Timmy he keeps talking about?
It's a term of endearment. I've come to love it.
There you go. But you want to familiarize yourself with the hottest finance offerings that you have available right now. We're going to teach you in a closers camp here soon on how to position financing as part of your promotion and make sure you're doing it the right way. We want to make sure that we review our button-up process and make sure that after we earn somebody's business, we know how to button it up properly. Familiarize yourself with the other big companies that are going to be at the show. Know what they sell. What's their pros and cons to their product. And then any material you can bring with you, like quotes or warranties, very important. TJ?
Yeah, I think you just kind of hit the nail on the head. The most important thing that you're going to run into here from a sales perspective is that probably 80% of these leads are going to have a quote from another company.
Right.
And it's not like a canvas lead. It's not like a store lead. This is, for a fact that you're going up against other competition most of the time. But the benefit you have here as compared to like an online lead, like a Google lead, is exactly who that competition is. There should be a marketer that when they get to the show, one of the first things they do is they walk around and they take pictures of the booths of the other companies that are there. So who to prepare for. If there are 4 other bath companies there, exactly which ones they are. And as Phil said, understanding their warranty, understanding their installation process, understanding what separates their product from yours and what your advantages are, that's going to give you the biggest leg up that you can get, because uncertainty and too much information is what can easily kill a deal with a show and event customer.
Yep.
So if you can help eliminate that uncertainty before you leave, you're in the driver's seat.
Yep. And also, one of the things that you want to carry with you is social media grade cards. And one of the things that Tony does a great job with, if he's worked with your show and event teams, is he has a grade card for your homeowner to fill out prior to your arrival. If they see us at a show or canvas or a store, to where they go online and they do their research before you get there to see what the scores are of all the companies they may be talking to. You need to do that yourself. You should get a little report card. You can find them in the store at tonyhody.com and fill them out and know who all of your competitors are and what their scores are online, so that you can show the homeowner, here's how we stack up with our competition.
You just got to be a little careful there, simply because if your scores aren't the highest, then you don't want to do that. So if you're in position to win using that tool, definitely use it, right? But if it's going to put you, second or third or fourth place, then probably skip that.
And that is something that, TJ, that you just said, that's awesome. If you're not in a position to have the highest score, you need to reach out to Tony today. Tony has some great programs that'll show you how to get your social media scores up to 5 stars, 4.8 stars, 4.9 stars. But you want to make sure that if you're not happy with some of your scores online, find a pro like Tony and let Tony help you get your scores up, because it's such a major tool that homeowners use nowadays when they make buying decisions.
Well, every single thing that we buy is like that now. I mean, you go to Amazon and you could just be buying toilet paper and you're looking through the reviews like, oh, this toilet paper has 5,000 reviews and it's got a 4.9. Like, you feel pretty good about that, right?
Yep.
But
Google says that 65% of home improvement purchases, the homeowner bases their decision on what they read online. And then the last thing is give yourself a goal for the show. Don't just go into the show and say, let's see what happens. Your team will have a goal. Your company will have a goal. But give yourself a goal, and put a plan in place on how you're going to achieve that goal. Develop a way to track your results daily. What do I do if I get behind? What if I do if I stay ahead? One thing that TJ and I always used to say is when it comes to success, first you have to conceive it, then you have to believe it, and then you have to achieve it. And it's ABC backwards, CBA, but conceive it, believe it, achieve it. Put a goal in place, believe it, share it with your peers, share it with your loved ones, and give yourself a reward. Hey, if I go out and do this, this, and that, honey, we're going on a 3-day trip to Gatlinburg, or we're going to go down to the Keys in Florida, enjoy a nice vacation. But give yourself a goal and go out and accomplish it.
Now,
Anything else you want to add to being prepared, TJ?
No, I think the third major reason why sales teams fail from these home shows is what you mentioned earlier, which is their mindset.
Oh,
And that's because typically there's two different types of leads that they're going to be running from these shows. You've got those really hot competitive leads, like we mentioned a little bit ago, where they're getting multiple appointments from multiple different companies. And then you've got the sweepstakes leads or the bulk leads that are, a lot of places do this, where someone might not be ready for appointment, but they just take down their information. Or if they're running a sweepstakes, someone filled out the form to win the sweepstakes, but did not set an appointment there at the show. And I know those have a perceived lower level of interest, but it's not always the case. But I wanted to give you a minute to talk specifically about mindset and how that can play a huge factor here.
Yeah, it amazes me how psychology is such an important part of what we do, but yet we forget about it sometimes when it comes to the most important things. Um, one of the things that we always told new people when we brought them in is you're no longer a salesman. I asked them, I said, what are you going to tell your friends you do for a living? And they say, I'm going to tell them I sell windows or I sell bathrooms. No, your job going forward is to give a masterful presentation. I don't know if it's Mr. Yoho or Mr. Grasso who coined the greatest close in the world is a masterful presentation. One of them quoted that one, and then the other one was the natural conclusion to a masterful presentation is the sale. You're not doing this to sell. You're doing this to give a masterful presentation. Let the sales take care of themselves. But where we as salespeople get messed up on leads, and the reason that we call them a cold lead or a hot lead is our mindset. Our focus is wrong. Again, I want to remind you of what the homeowner committed to. We're going to let you come out to our house, give us a presentation, and leave us a quote. They didn't say, come out to our house, give us a presentation, and write up a sale. We as salespeople need to go back and remember what our jobs are. Our jobs are not to sell. Our jobs are to give masterful presentations. And I promise you, what you perceive as a cold lead has the same needs, the same wants, the same desires as the lead that you consider hot. It's just your job to be able to turn it into that lead. And we're going to show you with some upcoming closers camps and podcasts on how you do that and how you can take any lead and turn it into a hot lead, and how you can close every single sale. You got to remember when somebody, we've all heard the term nebulous leads, which is another fancy way of saying a cold lead. We perceive those leads as people that have less interest, and that's not true. They're just working harder at not getting a quote. They're working harder at not putting themselves in a position to buy something. And when you finally get that opportunity to sit in front of them, you may have gone farther than 20 other salespeople in the past that tried. And that's just to be able to sit down at their kitchen table. So turn it into a hot lead just by treating it as, hey, I'm not here to sell you. I'm here to give you a masterful presentation.
Well, I say let's dig into to the meat of that here. And why don't we give people a way to actively combat that?
Some closes.
Yes. So we have created here some different language that can be used in your kind of closing sequences to help kind of turn things around and turn things into your favor. And I'll let Phil go through our first one here, which piggybacks right into the last conversation, which is the we just signed up to win close.
Yeah. So how many times have you called in your pitch miss or whatever you call it, your no sale, and somebody said, well, why didn't you sell that one? And you said, well, they just signed up to win. And you said, man, I wish I had a way that I could overcome that objection, or I wish I had a way to get farther into the presentation. And
or in our case, the sales manager is going, that's not a real objection. We
Right.
got to get you to the actual heart of the problem here.
Right. So one of the closes that we came up with is we just signed up to win close. And that is just simple language. Hi, John and Mary, I understand. I do hear that from a lot of my customers. You just signed up to win. So just so I'm clear, if your entry is picked as the grand prize winner, you're going to allow us to install these windows in your home, TJ?
Yes,
So it sounds like you trust us to do the work properly.
I do.
Now, are you satisfied with our window and our warranty? And would you want this specific window installed in your home?
Yeah, it's a great window.
So if I call you on the phone next week and say, congratulations, Mr. Parsons, you won the grand prize, you're going to say, hey, let's get your windows installed in our home right away.
Absolutely.
Why in the world would you want us to install windows in your home?
Well, because we need them.
Because you need them. So the reason that you signed up to win windows is because you have come to the conclusion that you do need new windows, right?
Yeah.
Well, where do you and your family do most of your grocery shopping?
We shop primarily at Meijer.
Meijer, awesome store. So let's say this weekend you go to Meijer and you've got your grocery list and you're pushing around your cart and they've got this big display in center aisle full of all these swimming pool supplies and chemicals, and they're giving away a year's supply of pool chemicals. Are you going to sign up to win those pool chemicals?
I definitely would not.
Why not?
Because I don't have a pool.
Because you don't have a pool. So obviously, you're not going to enter a giveaway for something that you don't need. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So again, is it safe to say you entered our contest because you need new windows?
Yes.
Well, I've got some bad news for you, TJ. You're probably not going to win the sweepstakes. Most likely you won't. It's like the lottery. There's going to be thousands of people who are going to enter, and there can only really be one grand prize winner. And guess what? On top of that,
What's that?
your existing windows are going to continue to get worse while your energy bills rise and your energy loss increases day by day. Isn't it safe to say, TJ, no matter what happens, at some point you are going to replace your windows?
Yeah, I guess so.
You're going to have to, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, you already told me earlier tonight that you trust my company. Is that true?
Absolutely.
And you love our window?
I do.
And you're happy with the lifetime warranty?
Mm-hmm.
And you told me $185 a month is affordable. It's not going to take your food off your table or cause you to be late on other bills.
Nope.
So let's not leave all of this to chance. Let's not leave this to whether I win the lottery or not. Let's get you on the schedule, because here's the good news. If we do draw your name, Mr. Parsons, we're going to give you all your money back.
Really?
Really. Welcome to Rhino Remodeling. Let's get you scheduled, and we appreciate you trusting us with your business.
Sounds good.
Now, if you use that close every single time they say, we just signed up to win, is it going to work? Sometimes. No close works all the time, but it works sometimes. And if I can get a few more in the boat, hey, that's awesome. That's more success. Plus, it might get them to move off of we only signed up to win to maybe what the true objection is, and give you an opportunity to close that deal.
There's two things that are really important here. The first is exactly that some closes, the value in it is not getting them to say, yes, I'm buying based off of that exact verbiage. Sometimes its real goal, real purpose is to identify what the true objection actually is.
Yeah.
So that's incredibly valuable. And then the second thing is just the philosophy with closing is closes are great. And we have a ton of them. We use a lot of them, but they don't matter if you didn't do a great presentation.
Oh,
if you do a C- presentation and then hit someone with that close, you're going to get looked at like a deer in the headlights, because they're going to say things like, I'm not sure that I love this window. Like, yeah, your company seems fine, but I think other companies are going to be fine too. So closes only work when your presentation is great, and they're an inch away.
Yes.
They just need a little bit of a small push to get them into the right buying zone.
If you haven't done a masterful presentation, if you haven't gotten your tie downs and your commitments, and you don't have them, like Timmy said, like a step away, your closes just fall on deaf ears. Now you're just wasting their time. And then the P word comes up. The big P word. What's the big P word? Pressure. You're starting to pressure me now.
Yep.
And nobody likes to be in that situation.
And people feel pressure when they're in situations they don't want to be in. And if they don't want to buy from you, then we kind of messed up the whole presentation, right? That's the whole point.
Yep. All right, let's talk about another close. And that's where is my wallet? Where is my wallet? So I love this close when people tell me they want to get other estimates. It's kind of a fun close. If you once you get to know Tim and I better, you're going to realize that we like to have fun in the house. We like to joke around. We like to have our customers laugh and have fun. And one of the closes that's been a great close for us over the years is where is my wallet? John and Mary, I can appreciate the fact that you want to get other questions. I'm sorry, Mr. Parsons, I can appreciate the fact that you want to get other estimates. May I ask you a question, Tim?
Of course.
When you come home from work, where do you put your wallet?
Usually on the kitchen counter.
On the kitchen counter. If you don't put it there, is there anywhere else you might put it down before you go to bed?
Sometimes I'll put it on my nightstand in my bedroom.
Okay. I know we all have, but have you ever forgot to take it out of your pants and you left it in your pants pocket when you threw it in the laundry basket?
Oh, yeah, more than once.
Yeah, sure. So let's say tomorrow morning you're getting ready to go to work. You go into the kitchen, and right where you left it on the counter is your wallet. Are you still going to go in the bedroom and look on the dresser to see if you left your wallet there?
No.
Of course not, right?
Yeah.
Why not? Why would I do that? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you go look?
Because I already found it.
You already found what you were looking for, didn't you? Are you going to go look in your pants pocket from yesterday to see if you left your wallet in there?
No.
Why not?
Because I already found it.
Because you already found it. So let me ask you a question. You told me earlier tonight that Rhino Remodeling was the company that you would feel comfortable doing work with, correct?
Yeah.
You told me this is the window that you want protecting your most valuable possession.
Yep.
You told me $180 a month was affordable. Is that true?
Yeah, it's affordable.
So it sounds to me like you have found everything that you were looking for. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Welcome to Rhino Remodeling. Thanks for trusting us with your business. We're going to do a great job for you. And since you know where your wallet's at, grab your debit card and we'll get your down payment started real quick.
There you go.
There you go. There you go. Where's my wallet? So get that close memorized. Use it on your other estimate objections. And, before we go, again, I want to thank Engage for sponsoring us today. Tim and I had the opportunity to work with Engage several years ago when we redid our sales presentations, and we made that glorious jump from pitch books to technology. And man, Engage is awesome. They can turn your presentations into Hollywood movie quality with great testimonials and great videos. They're very creative. They got some outstanding people working there. We're big fans of Engage, and we appreciate them sponsoring us. And how about we give them one more close before we go?
All right, one more. Let's do it.
One more close. And this close actually got created in a closers camp one day. TJ and I would often have closers camps. And after we let everybody role play and work for a while, we would take the pen and the calculator and we'd say, all right, give us an objection. We're going to close you. And I made the mistake one time of being in a closers camp and saying, I can close any objection you give me. Now, understand there's a difference between a condition and an objection, and we'll talk about that at another podcast. But any objection you give me, I can close. So this sales rep sat across from me, and I said, "Welcome to Rhino Remodeling. Just sign here and we'll get the project started." And he said, "Well, I need some time to think about it because your price is too high. I can't afford the payment, and I want to get some other quotes." And I said, "Wow, you're going to use all 4 of the major objections as the reason you're not buying." And he goes, "Yeah, close that." And I said, "Well, let me ask you a question first. Did you love my company? Did you love our commitment to service? Do you love our online reputation? Do we sound like a company you can trust?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Does this sound like, do you like our bathroom products? Do you think it would do a great job making your bathroom look better, bring you into the 2020s and make it more clean and maintenance free and safe?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "And can you afford the payment?" He said, "Sure." And I said, "Well, let me ask you a question. If we could do all of the work that we showed you, and we could do all of it for only $9.99 a month, would you need to think about it? Would you need to get other estimates? Would you need to figure out if that fits into your budget?" And he says, "Well, no, if it was $9.99, I would do it." And the point of that close, guys, is it doesn't matter what objection you get. If you're struggling with getting it down to the real reason they're not buying, just say, "Hey, if we could do all of this for $9.99 a month, would you do it?" And they're going to say, "Of course we would." And then here's the magic words. So somewhere between $180 a month and $9.99 is a monthly investment that you'd say, "You know what? We could swing that." So how much too much are we at 180? Are we 50? Are we 60? Are we 70? How much too much are we? But get that commitment from your homeowner and go to work. So we appreciate your time today. Thank you for listening to our podcast. We're going to teach you more about what it takes to be a Rhino and what it takes to get into masterful presentation mode as we move forward. But as I always say in my weekly blogs, from me anyway, my last thing today is go sell something.
Love it. And if you have any questions or if you have specific topics that you want us to cover, we would love to get your feedback. If you want to leave a comment either on YouTube or on Spotify, or you can send emails directly to us, you can send it right to me at tj.parsons1@gmail.com. Send us anything. We're happy to dig into specific requests and do whatever we can to help you. We have experience with really every product on the market. I know we talked a lot about windows today, but whether it's bathrooms, windows, solar, gutters, siding,
doors, gutter
entry doors,
attic insulation,
we've done it all.
kitchen remodeling,
all of it. Yeah. So anything you got, we're happy to help. But again, we thank you guys for joining us. We can't wait to do more of these. And like Phil said, go sell something.
Yep. Always be charging.
And if you or your business is in need of training, recruiting, process development, or consulting, you can contact us here at Tony Hody Training and Consulting by visiting tonyhody.com. Click the contact tab and enter your information for a free consultation to see how we can help you grow your business. Tony Hody Training and Consulting, teaching ordinary people how to do extraordinary things.